Welcome back everyone to more of our custom career mode and VR gameplay. We're coming off our very first Crown Jewel event in the Truck Series at Charlotte. So let's take a quick look at the numbers and then we'll talk a little bit about the race and where we go from here. So of course we qualified at the back of the field in 25th. Incident count was 0 and really no incidents among all of the AI traffic, so a very clean race overall. And of course, we came home just outside the top 10 in 11th position, which brought us a very nice payday of nearly $89,000. And we need every bit of that money because remember, our goal right now is to earn enough money to earn a full-time truck ride next season. So we don't have to just run the bigger tracks. We can run the short tracks as well as the super speedways. So let's actually hop over very quickly before we come back and take care of another matter and look at the classified. So right now we have $370,000 and we need $630,000. So remember, we are saving up for an age 0 car, which would be a brand new chassis in terms of how the spreadsheet is laid out. But remember, we're using some things a little bit differently than the way he originally planned the spreadsheet. So we're going to use this as a full-time ride that we are going to purchase. $630,000. So we're over halfway there, but we also don't have that many races left. So if we get to the end of the season and we don't have enough money, we'll just simply start it over and we'll go back through it again until we do have enough money. So that's how we're going to play this. 2021 will be our Truck Series season. So now, some of you may have noticed that it's time for a new sponsor. We signed a 3-race deal essentially because I felt like signing a long-term deal with an 8th place finish as the only race in the season was a bit unrealistic and something I really didn't want to do. I wanted to give it a few more races and see what kind of finishes we got. Of course, Atlanta really threw a monkey wrench into everything. And now we have an average finish of 13.25. So that's not going to get us quite as much money, or at least likely not going to get as much sponsorship money as what we got for an 8th place finish on average. So let's actually hop back in to the sponsorship hub and let's search for a sponsor. So remember, 87,000 last time around. Oh yeah, this is definitely not as good. In fact, just to try to make up for that first sponsorship a little bit, I'm going to go with the Marines here. We're not terribly worried about the number of races in the contract at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and take the lowest number just to try to offset the fact that we got so much money the first time around. So we're going to sign with the Marines for 7 races, and let's take a quick look at the details here. So of course the base amount of money, almost 58 grand per race. Pole position, about 5,800. Top 15, here are the ones that we care about right now. Top 15 is going to get us $1,400 extra dollars. A top 10 will get us almost $2,900, and then a top 5 gets us almost $5,800. And of course, if we win, everybody's happy. We get more money all around, almost $14,500 there. So that is going to set us up for the next several races and probably finish out our truck season here in 2021 in our abbreviated schedule. So I really like that. You can see it's already got it here ready to go for Indianapolis. Now, I am also, one final thing before we hit the track and focus on Indy, I am happy to say that my trading paints issues seem to be taken care of. I finally figured out what was doing it, and it was some corrupted files and folders. A combination of things. So that would explain why everything I tried just wasn't working. And it turned out some of the file structure, I have no idea when this happened because trading paints has always worked just fine for me. You always have 1 or 2 paint schemes that sometimes they won't come in just right. But for the most part, it's always been perfectly fine for me until very recently. Now keep in mind, I'm recording this a good deal before you're actually going to see the video. So by the time you actually see this video, it will have been fixed for quite some time. But I am happy to say that Recent testing has shown that all of the paint schemes are showing up, so hopefully when we head to Indy, everything will be good. All right, folks, here we are, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is quite the spectacle. You're here on the front stretch.
0-3 in the outside lane.
And there are just people everywhere on both sides of you. It's a sight to behold for sure. Really puts things in perspective. We're going to be running 60 laps today. That's right. Our second special event in a row. Another crown jewel race. A lot on the line here today, but it's a long race, 60 laps. Of course, we got our caution clock in the top right-hand corner. That should come into play 2 different times today. Now, this is the race of great unknowns. The setup, I'm using the iRacing setup, no adjustments whatsoever, and I feel like we're off the pace. These guys are just faster than us, and I have reduced the AI skill spread and the strength overall. It's now 95 to 115, and even then, I feel like we're off the pace, but we're going to see what happens when we get in traffic. It's a long race, and I'm hoping that we can get a nice, clean race and get at least a decent finish, if not a great finish. But again, look at all of the fans. Appreciate you guys coming out today. Fantastic job showing up. Whether you're here in person or joining in on TV, appreciate the support. Hopefully, we're going to put on a great event for you today. All right, starting in the back, 25 total trucks, including us. See how many spots we can make up. Let's see how this thing handles. So many unknowns. But the one thing we know for sure,
getting ready here, getting ready.
This is about to get exciting.
Pace car's leaving. Green, green, green.
Again, we're already accelerating well before the official green flag.
Outside.
I'm going to try to give these guys a little bit of room. I don't know how they're going to handle this traffic. In practice, there was no traffic. Everybody was all very spread out. Ooh, easy now. So no reason to be in any kind of hurry to move forward. So I'm just going to sort of take what we can get. But I'm not really interested in like 3 wide unless it's early on the straightaway where we can have plenty of time.
Got one outside, still there.
To get things sorted out.
Keep low, keep low. Still there. Clear.
All right, there we go. We made it through the first lap.
B23.
All right, we should be clear. Good run through there. Now we feel incredibly slow. All right, these guys are, yeah.
Outside.
Let's see if we can get this all sorted out.
Hold your line. Hold your line. Got one outside, still there. Still there.
The setup is the iRacing setup here for Indy. No changes to it, and it feels a little twitchy, tight on entry, and really twitchy to loose on exit.
Still there.
So we're going to see how all that works out. I'm going to try to back up the corner a little bit, and we'll just play around with this. Yeah, there's that tight on entry. Of course, we got a terrible angle right now at it.
Got one outside.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, the trucks just feel so slow. They feel so slow at this racetrack.
Keep to the bottom.
You can see right there. I feel like we're going to lose all of the drag races down the straights unless we have a lot of drafting help behind us. That's how much off the pace I feel like we are.
Still there.
All right, we might be okay here because we've got buddy Kofoid right in front of us. Maybe we can use him to draft. It looks like we also got somebody right behind us, so that's good. Ooh, easy there.
You've just
Oh,
done
that, never mind.
4.8.
I thought that was buddy Kofoid. It's the 91 instead. Yeah, just trying to tiptoe through here. I think we're clear, but I am not taking that chance right now.
Got one outside. Clear to stop.
Actually using some brake on corner entry, just trying, since we're in so much traffic, just trying to keep the truck stable so that we can hold our line and get things spread out here a little bit. And then we'll see how it goes from here. All right, so now they're coming back to my inside.
Got one inside.
18.
Clear. Inside.
Try to give them plenty of room there.
Clear to the bottom.
All right, the second groove's not that bad. Certainly not going to be fast. I don't believe it's going to be fast at all. But truck feels fine up there. At least we can hopefully hold a lane up there. We'll see what the tires do. How much fall off do we have here? And of course, the amount of fall off isn't as important as our fall off versus the AI. That's really what it comes down to. Because we've seen examples so far in this career series where our fall off, once again, he's going to get to our inside.
That's the fastest lap of the race.
All right, I thought he was to the inside. Guess he never quite got there. All right, so we're definitely not able to keep up with the trucks in front of us. So Howard is definitely pulling away. And whoever that is behind us keeps peeking out just on corner entry, letting me think that he's going to go to our inside, but he never quite gets there. All right, let's see if I can discourage him a little bit. Nope, he's there this time.
Keep digging. Keep high. Clear to the bottom.
But right now, the overarching feeling that I'm getting from this track is just slow. It just feels so slow right now. Now, there's a few different things for that. Of course, number one, this place is huge. So that reduces some of the sensation of speed. At least till you get to corner entry, then it feels a little bit faster. Oh, so tight right there. Drove it in a bit too much. That's one of the byproducts of feeling like you're going slow, is sometimes you overdrive it. Because you think, well, surely I can go faster. But anyway, with the sensation of speed here, it's huge. And also, the engine note of these trucks doesn't help anything because you feel like you're basically idling with what you're hearing from the engine. So none of that is really giving you any sensation of speed. And then if you get spread out, there's no trucks around you to give you that sensation of, you know, door-to-door racing or anything. Wow, we're definitely getting tight on the entry. This guy behind me, I don't know who it is. I haven't had a chance to really look. Who is that? Timmy Hill.
Still there.
All right.
Clear.
Once again, Timmy gets all excited up to corner entry, and then he backs out of it. Because I can't imagine I'm driving it in that much deeper than he can. So we find ourselves in 18th position, which honestly is more trucks than I thought we would be able to pass and then maintain. Oh, there he goes. Letting us know, by the way, you haven't passed anybody for a position lately. And it's understandable. I have not. Now, the one thing that gets me here in VR is if I look at the sky, the clouds look horrible. And that's just part of it. Thankfully, I don't spend a whole lot of time looking at the clouds. But that is something to keep in mind with the lower resolution sky that we're using. It just, woof, it looks rough. It looks very rough. So I try not to look at that any more than I absolutely have to. Sometimes, like today, with it being so clear and just a few white puffy clouds, it's hard not to. So as slow as I feel like I'm going right now, one thing that I can be sure of, the guys in front are not going anywhere. They're not running away from me. So it looks like dropping the AI skill spread to the 95 to 115 worked. I knew I wasn't going to be able to leave it up to the max 125 because I was just way too far off the pace. We would have been lucky, I think, to keep up with the back of the field. And that's not really what we're interested in. We don't want to be quite that far off the pace. But you can see these guys in front, I mean, we're 18th, and I can see, what, 5 different trucks in front of me? Yeah, this thing's really starting to push now as the tires age. So that means top 15 is doable. All right, that's our 10-minute warning for the first caution. Again, as always, I'll remind you guys that you can see the caution clock. I cannot. That's why if something happens and we ever have a race where the caution clock does not work, I won't know it until it's much too late to do anything about it. Oh, we got a great run through there. Colby Howard is definitely falling off a lot more than we are. Well, I was hoping we could get
Outside.
alongside him a lot more.
Clear outside.
Okay, so he just falls in behind us. I thought he might fight us for the position, which is why I was more concerned with getting a little farther up beside him before 3 and 4, but didn't need to. He just backed off and gave us the spot, which honestly is the best route that you can take most of the time.
17th place. Okay, Brian. Lap times are pretty consistent.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. We're just working hard in here, trying to make every lap count. Trying some different things around the track to see if I can get the truck to turn and maintain as much speed as I can. This is clearly a momentum track, so I'm just trying to keep as much of it as I can. The brakes actually help a little bit. Don't want to use them a whole lot. But they help the car to rotate. So now we'll see if we can do anything with Lawless Alan here in front. So we are on lap 13, now 14. And wow, what happened to Colby Howard? Yeah, he's dropped back a little bit. All I can see in my rearview mirror is, well, my own spoiler. So that's probably the best way to categorize how close somebody is. Are they close enough that they show up over the spoiler? And right now the answer is no. So at just past halfway through this run, we can answer a couple of questions. Number one, can we keep up at this skill spread of 95 to 115? The answer? Absolutely we can. We are about midfield. Not quite, but close enough. So that adjustment to the skill spread, absolutely working. The second part is, can we pass any trucks? If we can just manage to keep up with the back of the field, is that all we can do? The answer, of course, there as well, no. We have been able to pass multiple trucks. So we sort of stalled out here behind Lawless Allen, and so we're 17th, he's 16th, and in front of him is a bit of a gap. You can see we got 3 trucks up there, but we are not doing a whole lot with them as far as gaining on them. Truck's definitely gone tight. And yeah, this is definitely stalling out behind it. So when we get to pit stops, I mean, those guys in front, there's a gap there, but I don't see them actually, just running away from us. If they were going to do that, they should already be gone, like the ones apparently in front of them. So the top 10 are gone. I don't even see them ahead anywhere. So they're not even being drawn on the screen at any point. And okay, we're pulling away from Howard behind us. So I think we found where we fit in this race. Ooh, that's dreadfully tight. All right, that's the 5-minute warning.
B17.
Crew chief just seems completely uninterested. He may have fallen asleep. Is this time for the ice cream break? Is that what they're doing right now? I hesitated about running a longer race at this track, but I thought we can do it once. At least once in the career, we're going to run a longer event here. And of course, it should be a crown jewel event. It absolutely should be. But the racing just isn't good enough, which is so surprising. I mean, Indianapolis, as well, I mean, you can just see all the stands they've got up around here. Well over 200,000 fans they can fit in this joint. NASCAR's been running here quite a while now. And yes, I remember when they first came to the Brickyard. I do remember that. I'm definitely old enough to remember that.
Howard is getting closer. The gap is now 0.8. That lap time was 56.4.
Yeah, Howard should be closing back in on me because Lawless Allen is starting to pull away some. But this is that so frustrating combination of tight on entry, no rotation through the center, and then the car gets twitchy when I get back to the throttle. So it's like you try to set up the car to rotate on exit, but you didn't rotate it through the center. You know, the entry and center to get it there. All right, so I believe it's not just Howard that's catching us. I believe Timmy Hill's coming with him. All right, and yeah, he's definitely gaining.
That lap time was 56.6.
But essentially, I'm just having to wait in the center of the corner until the truck catches up and actually rotates. The critical corners are 2 and 4 because they lead to the straights. But even those, I'm trying to figure out a way to maintain a lot more momentum than seemingly this truck wants to. These things do not like the straightaways. That combined with the G920 wheel with its gears and belts and everything going on, it just, this truck does not want to go straight. It likes to wander on the straights. Alright, that was probably our best turn 2 in a while. I was able to stay in the gas at least. Alright, 1 minute warning, which means, well, at this track, that's about a lap. That means we are not far from the caution flag. Alright, so we'll finish up this lap, 17th position, and I would imagine the caution will come out before we get back around. This is one of those times where the caution clock is definitely helping us out. Because there would be so many trucks a lap down without it. If we had to make green flag pit stops, the entire field would be a lap down, it feels like.
We're on the caution.
All right, there we go. Now, are we ever going to be able to catch up? This ought to make pit stops fun. Now here you don't really have to worry about getting off the track and onto pit road. I don't know what pit road speed limit is. That's going to be interesting. But we should be in the back. Very first pit stall. Very first pit stall we come to, anyway, that's being used. Alright, do we have leaders on the same track as us? Or have they just gone? I'm trying to peek out ahead and I don't see anybody other than just a couple of trucks that we've been looking at.
Pit road is now open.
Of course it is. The leaders have probably already made their pit stop. Oh, here we go, here we go. We've caught some people now. Wow. We can actually see the leaders. That's odd.
Jetstar 88 car.
Pit lane speed limit is 60 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
We'll need to stop again.
Pit box in 10.
10?
5, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
All right, here we are. So 17th. Did look like a couple of guys did not stop. Were those laps? I don't know.
That's it, go.
All right, hopefully nobody gets put into the wall, including us.
Jetstar 15 car.
All right, so we'll see how this all shakes out. Everybody should be coming in, because that's close enough to a fuel run that there's no reason for anybody to not come in. That's the whole purpose of the caution clock. So we'll see where this all checks out. We've been making up anywhere, 2 to 4 positions every time we pit. I don't like that being the case because I don't feel like I'm doing anything on pit road.
Top left 98,
All right, past the 98? Really? The 98? All right, you said so.
Top left 4, top left 18, top left 42, top
Are we passing?
left 38,
Stay behind the pace car. Okay, what's happening right now? Because I know we're not the leader. All right, so we're behind the pace car, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I don't really understand what's going on right now. It says 2 to green.
Okay, bud, green flag, next time by.
All right, Brian,
Up on the
get
outside.
ready. Race will resume at the end of this lap.
I am... Stay behind... Wait a minute, why are we behind the pace car? There goes Lawless Allen. There goes the 24. I have no idea what's happening. We are not in second place. All of these guys that we were racing against are now going to the back of the field. I feel like we should be going with them. Because, yeah, the leaders, I mean, they're all right behind us. We're showing in 14th. This is all kinds of messed up. This is why I always hesitated to run more than one fuel run and turn cautions on and all that. Something's not right here. But anyway, we're going to go with it. I mean, it's all we can do. The bad news for us is we're about to lose a lap. Because obviously, as soon as these guys pass us, and they will.
Pace car's coming in. Get ready.
This is wild. So now it's showing us back to 20th. Of course, the guys at the back of the field are not going to have anywhere near enough time to catch up here. So we're starting on outside of the front row for some reason that might be obvious to anybody but me.
Pace car's in, catch stop 19,
Did you see him just brake check me right there? That's pretty funny, actually.
Green,
Green
green,
flag, we're
green.
racing. Okay, Brian, we're in the lucky dog position. Let's see if we can keep it.
We're in the lucky dog.
20th
Well,
place.
good for us.
Stay high. Clear.
All right, so we're just going to go for it. I mean, don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to try to keep up the best I can. If they start to, show their speed and get to my inside, I'll give them room. All right, these guys are saying they're pitting this time.
Inside.
All right,
Keep it on
that's
top.
interesting. So they
They're
didn't
inside.
pit. And there they go.
Inside. Clear
Yep,
the
there they
bottom.
go. So how many of them
The
pitted?
leader, Smith, is pitting. Osavar is now in the lead.
Wow. All right, we're going to give this a lap or
That's good
two
consistency. Keep it up.
to see what on earth is happening.
The car
Which-
ahead's pitting now.
Which brings to mind that I did make some changes to the pit riskiness. I forget the exact name of the AI skill, but their pit strategy. I did make an adjustment to that, but I can't imagine any adjustment I would make. That would cause this type of pit behavior. This makes no sense
The
whatsoever.
leader, Osavar, is pitting.
Did anybody pit? Or anybody pit at all with us? I mean, I know a few did. This is wild. So it's still showing us in 19th. However, since the leaders pitted, They were right behind us to put us a lap down. So this thing has just gotten very spread out very quickly. And I think everybody's off sequence. Because I think I saw some trucks in pit lane that were there when we were in. Wait, why do I still see trucks in pit lane?
P4, good job.
Wait, what is happening? Absolutely what is happening right now. This is blowing my mind. We are in P4. I think somebody said P3. But we're P4 right now according to this. And I haven't the foggiest idea why. For the life of me, I can't figure out. So the only thing I can figure, and for those of you who have experience with this, maybe you were already aware that this was going to happen. I was not. But yeah, I mean, every time we come by now,
You're in first.
You're now in the lead.
I'm in the lead. Wow. But the only thing I can figure at this point, other than the fact that this is all crazy, the only thing I can figure is that they're treating this like a road course. And their strategy says if we pit now,
Howard behind is increasing. It's now 0.9.
they're saying if we pit now, then we can pit one more time, so the strategy window opened, and that's what they're doing. That's the only thing I can figure that makes any sense whatsoever. Now, granted, within the reality of the race and the cautions and all that, then it doesn't make any sense, but that's the only thing I can figure to try to have this make some sort of sense in my head. All right, anybody still in the pits?
Keep it up. Keep it
Okay,
up.
Brian,
Keep digging.
that's half distance. Should be about 22 laps of fuel left. That was 54.4.
All right, well, we're just going to go with it. But I can tell you what I'm going to have to do before I do this again. I'm going to have to run, if we do this again. This is not my favorite track to race at, particularly not in the trucks. We'll see, maybe it's better in a faster car. But if I try this again, then I'm going to have to do a little bit of testing with the AI pitch strategy skill and all of that kind of thing. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure it's worth it, honestly, because
That was halfway.
as beautiful as this track is to look at, racing it, not so much.
The gap to Howard behind is now 1.2.
And I was kind of afraid of that anyway, but again, like I said before, I thought we'll give it a shot one time, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and if it doesn't, hey, we just won't do it again. And right now, we're firmly under that maybe not do it again scenario. I would like to test it, though, just to see, because I gotta believe when iRacing is testing these tracks, that they would have seen something like this. This is just odd behavior. It doesn't need to be perfect, but this just seems overly odd. But who knows? I could be completely wrong. Even though I'm leading right now, these guys might have the strategy figured out, and I might be the one on the outside looking in by the end of the race. Who knows? They may have this thing all figured out. But right now, I don't see another human being on this track. I mean, I can look in my rearview mirror, but they're far enough behind me that the spoiler is blocking them. I see nobody in front of me. The good news is we're in clean air right now. So the truck handles better. Is that a positive?
Gap to Howard behind is increasing. It's now 1.7.
All right, so we're pulling away from the ones behind us. who should be mid-pack. All right, so nobody's on pit road now. I keep watching for that. Not that I would expect anybody to be on pit road, but, you know, you just never know. The guys behind us came in when we did. So how about that? Just to summarize a bit, we restarted on the outside of the front row next to the leader somehow. We ran, what, a lap? 2 laps? After taking the green again, and then they all came into pit. And then all of the guys that...
Howard behind is now 2.1 seconds.
Oh yeah, we're definitely pulling away now. But then, after they pitted, all of the guys that actually pitted with us, they became right next to us. So now that's who we're racing for the lead. So the leaders appear to be on a very, very different strategy, which we're going to let play out today. But this is driving me nuts and really making me question running longer races until I can figure out something through testing that I can do with their pitch strategy skill that will have them do at least some strategies that make sense. Even if it doesn't mean doing the same thing we're doing, just something that makes sense. So we're going to see. We're on lap 35 here.
The gap behind is now 2.3.
And like I said, who knows? These guys might have something figured out that I don't know. And so they might very well, at the end of this race, be the ones laughing and saying, see, you should have done what we did, instead of laughing at us. And if that's the case, then I will definitely congratulate them and be humbled and say, you guys had it figured out. I did not. But until then, we're just going to run some laps here. And since we're in clean air and can't see another soul, and I keep looking. All right, there's our 10-minute warning. So we're halfway through this 20-minute session. Now, because this track is so long, you don't have to worry about getting caught up a lap down because you pitted, as long as you're reasonably close to the leader anyway. Then you'll have plenty of time to actually get out of the pits before you get lapped. So now I'm getting excited. The more I think about this, and let's be real, what else do we have to think about at this point? Now I'm getting excited. Now I'm thinking, all right, maybe this all...
The guy behind's catching. The gap's now 1.4 seconds.
Ooh. Well, that's Matty D. All right, so Colby Howard is not catching me. Matty D is. So Matty D got some speed.
That lap was a 56.2.
Yeah, we've entered the truck is extremely tight phase of the run. So when Matty D catches us, which apparently is not going to take long, then I will not be fighting with him. Got to be careful about getting down too low in the corners. I want to get down below that white line, but you have to be careful. Because there's some sort of rumble strip down there a little bit, even before you get to the white curve.
The gap behind is now 1.0 seconds. Your lap time was at 56.0.
Matty D looks like he's catching us about a tenth and a half per lap or so. These guys behind us have got to be as confused as I am right now. Like, how did we end up in the lead after a caution, after a pit stop? But we'll just take this opportunity. Let's wave at all the crowd. Appreciate everybody coming out. Absolutely. I mean, the buildings here are fantastic. The leaderboard. I mean, when you're looking at that scoreboard, amazing. Everything about this track is top-notch, except the racing. And that's a shame. That is a huge shame, in fact. All right, Matty D is upon us. I can actually see him now. So now let's see how long it takes him to actually make the move on us. So I'm going to see if he gets a good run. He's close. Not quite close enough to make a move, though. Yeah, had to get back out of the gas a little bit there. Oh, it just hurts everything in me to have to stay out of the gas as much as we are in turns 2 and 4. Because everything in you is telling you, you've got to get back to the gas. Yeah, he was there. Or at least I thought he was.
Got one inside. Still there.
All right, Matty D, drag race. Let's have some fun. I haven't seen another truck in several minutes now.
Clear inside. Got one inside. Clear.
All right, we've been able to hold him off. We got our 5-minute warning now.
Inside. Stay right there. Clear inside. Inside.
So now we're just going to have some fun with Matty D. See if we can hold him off. See if we can keep up with him. If he makes the pass. Yeah, there he goes. Now I'm guessing we're about to watch him just drive off into the sunset.
Next car is the leader.
P2.
I do not know where the caution clock is. It said 5 minutes to go. So I'm trying to figure in my head, are we going to have enough laps left for it to still trigger? Remember, oh, that reminds me, that's another thing that I did change. I changed the laps remaining in order for it to turn itself off from 20, which was the default, down to 15. So we're going to see. I don't know that it's going to trigger again. In fact, I don't think it's going to trigger again. And if it doesn't trigger again, you guys know what that means. That means green flag pit stops. Unless something happens and we get a caution that we haven't seen yet. Because we haven't seen anybody be close enough together for very long to generate a caution. Ooh, tight, tight, tight. So let's see how that plays out. I changed it to 15, which is right about, well, here in the next lap or so. And we just got the 5 minute. So I'm guessing it's not going to happen. Which is fine. And at this point, that might be what helps the leader's strategy work out. We'll see. I know one thing for sure. If we have to fight Matty D for the win in this race, then we're not going to be able to hold him off. Woo! Yeah, we need somebody to get out and push. Got me thinking about shifting in here. My goodness. All right, so here we are. We're about 15 to go now. Looks like I should have adjusted that caution clock a little bit more, maybe 10 to go. I haven't seen another warning yet, and it should be about time for the 1 minute warning if we were going to get it. All right, Howard is back within a half second. So he hasn't really been able to chase us down. He caught up to us a good bit when we were fighting with De Benedetto, but then since then, he's just sort of been holding serve. So this is just going to be another opportunity to say the racing here at this track is just not great. It's a fun track to drive, but not race. And I say that because if you have a car that can go fast, and in NASCAR, of course, we would be talking about a Cup car from several years ago, back when they had more horsepower and downforce and all that. They used to sit down some blazingly fast laps. Again, for a stock car. We're not talking Indy cars here. But these guys were in stock cars trying to get as close to wide open as they could get and carry as much throttle through the corners, and it was fantastic to watch. But again, the racing, not that good. And that's how we got to where we are today. I think these tires are just officially gone.
Me too.
All right, so now, how much fuel do we have? Because I have to say, now that I know we're not going to get that second caution clock, we're going to have to pit again, and I have no idea when. But we're definitely going to have to come in again. So now I'm thinking, all right, we got about 12 laps to go. When do we come in? And I'm starting to think that any time now is really the opportunity to come in. I haven't seen any of the AI start to come in, because remember, they all throw up the pitting now into the comment section here. So yeah, this is going to get fun. Do we run it out of fuel? I'm actually not sure at all. Forcing my brain to do work that I wasn't.
Almost out of fuel, but it looks like we'll make it to the end.
I don't think so.
Both sides. Clear.
Look out for the pit speed limit. Okay, Brian, we'll fuel you to the end of the race.
All right,
Expect
I dropped it
traffic on
down.
exit. When we exit the pits, we'll be in P6 between Anderson and P3.
5, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
I feel like that was as good as I could have gotten in. I think we covered the speed.
That's it, go.
All right, let's see how this thing turns out. Plus, I wanted to pit sort of a little bit differently to try to even up the standings a little bit. I didn't like being up there in the top 3 or 4. I didn't. That's not how I want to get good finishes. So, if nothing else, I wanted to do it for that reason, regardless of how else this turns out. All right, anybody around us? No, we got clean track, and I mean clean track.
The gap behind has now decreased to 19 seconds.
All right, so obviously we're good to the end now. Track is plenty rubbered up. So it's showing us in 6th. Let's see how that all sorts itself out.
10 laps to go.
6th place.
Not sure I believe that.
The leader is pitting now.
There we go. We've drawn them all to pit road. We're trendsetters. That's what we are.
Howard is now leading.
So we're going to hammer down. I'm seeing a few guys like Stuart Friesen at the back of the field that should not be at the back of the field. So we're going to hope that that was either a strategy call that hasn't worked itself out yet, or some contact that put him back there. I cannot wait to see.
All right, Brian, there's a car exiting the pits. Heads up.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the finishing order after this, and
5.
and just sort of see how all this works out, because we know the guys at the front. John Hunter, Zane Smith,
Leader pitting now.
Chandler Smith, all those guys. Oh, and there comes DiBenedetto. Now, he's coming out right with us. So that just goes to show you
Got one inside.
how much time we made up on him
Clear inside.
by pitting a lap or so earlier than him. So let's see what we got for him on new tires. Because I don't know what we're racing for right here, but it's a lot better than I thought we'd be racing for.
Back and forth.
P3.
Good job.
The car ahead's pitting.
All right, car ahead is pitting. So we got a lot of people coming into the pits now for their final stops. All right, so Matty D has gone
Got
nowhere.
one inside. Stay right there.
Can we hold him off, or is he just going to blow by us?
Still there. Still there.
Again, outside is not terrible. It's not fast, but you can run up here just fine.
Leader
The leader's
pitting now.
pitting now.
All right, leader is pitting now, so that means we're going to move back up in the standings. So, wow, you got to love this. All right, who's that in front? Is that Jack Wood actually in front of us? All right, I see one truck in the pit lane. Looks like Chase Purdy.
Back in second.
You're leading.
All right, Matty D, quit playing games with me now. Because I keep... It's hard to judge exactly how close to me he is when he pulls out, because on entry it feels like, based on what I can see and tell from what I'm getting from the mirror, that he's actually there on the inside. So I'm trying not to come down on him and of course wreck ourselves. Alright, now we got some more company in front of us. We're in second. So who's leading?
Got one inside. You are the leader. Let's go up the track.
Never mind, it was us. I say was because De Benedetto is looking awfully hard at our inside. Alright, we need a nice tow off of this 24 truck. We need that. Because we actually have a shot at the lead here. Believe that or not. Alright, trying something a little different with how we're getting around the track. I don't know that it's going to help. Ooh, this is going to be tough.
That car is not a lead lap car. Got one outside.
Okay, good.
Good stop.
Alright, he gave me the lane. It crushed our corner entry. Oh, that was terrible. Alright, so now that brought Matty D back to us. We are in the lead. Holy cow. Alright, just a few laps to go. Matty D is going to be wanting this lead in a big way. Alright, we got some more people coming into the pits. Looks like Austin Wayne's self in front of us is one of those.
Got one inside.
Oh no! Oh, what happened?
Race car is out. Under caution.
Oh! Seriously?
Stop 24. Stop. Catch stop 91.
Seriously? Well, ladies and
Dropping a lot
gentlemen,
of fluid. We have to fix it. Catch
that
stop 3. Stop.
is not how I wanted this.
Watch your
Oh
speed limit
yeah,
in
we're
the pits.
done.
Watch your
We're
speed.
done here. Oh, that is awful.
Okay, Brian. Expect traffic when you exit the pits.
You entered a
When we exit the
closed
pits,
pit.
we
Go
should
to
be in
the end of the
position
longest
7,
line.
in between 8th place. And
Oh.
it's fine, you got loads.
Pit box team 10.
Well, folks, that is not how I wanted this thing to end, but we got clipped. Oh, so close. If we weren't going to get the victory, we had second place, I think, sewn up. Holy cow. So, at the end of the day, look at these required repairs, 8.5 minutes. Optional repairs beyond that. That, folks, is the end of our day. All right, everyone. We are here in the instant replay, and I apologize. This is going to look a little bit weird since we're in VR looking at the replay. But we're going to come back to lap 56, and we're going to catch it from here. And we're going to start off in the TV1 camera because I'm just dying to know what happened. All right, so there we are in the 13, the Mountain Dew truck. All right, everything is good so far. Remember, this happened coming off turn 4, and I just want to see. This camera angle might not show it. So we may have to go to a different camera angle because right now, I mean, this thing is... Let's go TV2 and see what happens. A little bit closer angle here. So you can see we got a little bit of room on him here. We're coming up on the 22, and the 22 was going down, getting ready to go into the pits, so I decided that, oh, wait a minute. And yeah, he just got us. He just, guys, let's go back. Wow, that's odd. All right, so let's try this again. And just watch the 25 as we are attempting to go by the 22 who is about to come into the pits. Yeah, he just ran up over our left rear tire and demolished the car. Then we got hit by somebody else. All right, so let's go back. And we're going to choose a different camera angle here. Now that I know what happened, let's choose the... This ought to be a good one. The far chase. So let's back up a little bit farther. So again, keep in mind the 22 in front of us is coming into the pits. That's why I went high. Yeah, that's, wow. And that is not, oof. Yeah, there it was. That's the hit that demolished us right there. The second hit. The first hit was enough, but the second hit really did us in. And you can see right there, we're just dog tracking it. I couldn't even straighten the steering wheel out and go straight. So we were in deep trouble there. So I just had to know what happened. Did I not give him room, or did he wreck us? What happened? But essentially, he wrecked us for the win. Matty D was going for the checkered, and he got it. So Matty D eventually brings home the results. You can see Matt DiBenedetto gets the victory. So we were that close to having a shot at our very first truck win. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stick around for more custom career mode and VR gameplay.